Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Long Grass Podcast. This is the Footwedge crew. We are doing this virtually because Stephen has very much buckled in the last week, and in theory, I could have come out of isolation today. But let's have another day to be safe. And so I decided to catch the young flu. We think it's the regular flu because technically I didn't test positive for COVID. So I like to think that I still haven't. I'm elite enough to still not have had it.
I see we
But
lost Ross here, brother.
I think he is still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Ross.
On.
Yeah,
Okay,
can you hear me?
good thing it's a podcast. Technical difficulties right off the bat. That really summed up
Yeah,
all
it's
of
fine.
us.
In theory, the video should still be recording. So hopefully, when his internet connection
Yeah.
decides to be a bit faster, he should be back.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been quite a lot since the last podcast. We've actually now all seen each other play. Well, I haven't seen Davaos play, and he hasn't seen me play. But Ross has seen both of us play, so we're gonna put him on the spot and ask what he thinks about us as our newly adopted swing coach. What he's gonna change. We've had some interesting rounds. Steve Rose raised the bat at Dainford last weekend, or last week off the Pro Tees, which was quite a difficult day. And then you guys had a long day at Botsy yesterday with what looks like some very cool footage. And then quite cool, guys. Well, maybe we'll actually start with that. Is Matthew has played in a pro-am where he single-handedly decided to just derail JC Ritchie's season.
Yeah, no, it was incredible, dude.
But so walk us through when you got the call up. What was going through your mind? Was there any doubts? Were you like, I've got to play, or were you like certain amount of, sure, but this is gonna be quite hectic? What was the thinking when you got the opportunity?
So I got the message and I was like, sign me up straight away. So there's no chance I'm missing the opportunity, right? But like my swing had been a little bit shaky. Like I hadn't actually played as like much as I usually do. Usually it's a ton. Like I play twice every weekend and whatnot. And like I think I'd only played this Saturday, and then all of a sudden I was playing the Wednesday. Yeah, and it was like a call up maybe a day or two before. So I was like, okay, sweet. Went to the range and it wasn't feeling great. Anyway, so this is my first pro-am, and like I'm stoked to be there. Like this is my element. Like I love competition. I love all that sort of stuff. So I get there early, dude. I'm there probably about 2.5 hours before my tee off. So so I get there, and first thing I do the screening and all that, and there's a caddy with my name on his back, like with the bib and everything, and it says Davaos, and I'm like, this is it. Like I've made it, man. This is so cool. So this caddy, he's like a Sunshine Tour caddy and everything like that. So he's proper. So he's not from the course or anything like that. He caddies. I think he done quite a bit for Xander Lombard and the likes of him. So he takes me to the range at Serengeti. Now there's two sides of the range. There's the side where all the amateurs are, which is the far side, and there's the side where the pros are, which is the side that my caddy takes me to. So I get there. Now imagine like you're hitting off a green. And I kid you not, it's like hitting off a green.
Yeah.
There's Pro V1s, the Sunshine Tour practice Pro V1s loaded up in pyramids there. And Justin Harding, European Tour player, is one bay over to the left of me. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, these oaks are all sussing me out. Like, who's this guy hitting on the pro driving range? So I'm like, I've got to just belong, you know? Like, you got to just put yourself mentally and say, I belong here, this is what I got to do. And I just start hitting hosel rockets. I actually put some balls on the 9th, on the 18th fairway. It was that bad. So I was clearing the cart path off the range onto the 18th fairway, and my caddy's looking at me and he's like, holy shit, he's like, bro, just be yourself, just be natural. I'm like, brother, I'm trying my best.
He's like, just be a better version of yourself now.
Yeah, he was like, bro, just relax. Now I feel like Justin Harding's breathing down my neck, and he's just seeing me scull all these caddies are watching me, and I'm like, and like also all the like the people that were there, like walking across, just watching like the pros had to see me there, like it was awful, sculling at every single shot. So I come off and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tough. I'm like, it is what it is. I got what I got, so I'm just gonna commit to it. So I get to the first tee, caddies he lined up. JC Ritchie pumps it down the middle, and the guy's playing with says, right, Matt, you're gonna be the captain for today. You off first every tee box, and you lead the way. So now I'm like, okay, right, this is it. Like, you got to step up. I get to the first tee, and there's a damn photographer lies down, and I shit you not, he lies down in front of the tee box there, and it's right where I've just been hosel rocketing every single ball on the range. So now I'm So I'm sitting there. I'm like, fuck. I hope I don't crunch this oak. And I'm like, I just gotta commit. And then I striped it straight down the middle. First one. Next one was the Hazel Rockets. Made par. Played the rest of the round with JC Ritchie and everything like that. I went 46 through the front 9, and then I just clicked on the back 9, just turned into a different man, and I made 3 over on the back, which was exceptional for me. And I missed the shortest putt I've ever seen missed. So this is like on TV, everything, like that Henny Otto type thing. I had this putt for par, and obviously we're playing for prizes and everything, so I'm doing my damn best. The shortest putt I've ever seen missed, bro, and I don't know if the camera can see. I'd say it was probably about this close. Didn't even touch the damn hole, and my putting's been a bit fucked up ever since that miss. It's hurt me mentally, and Ross will be able to tell you a couple of the putts that I had that.
I've heard stories that the putter wasn't quite operating yesterday.
Dude, I 4-putted yesterday, but we'll save you Botsy for another stage.
Hey, Scotty Scheffler 4 putters for a green jacket, dude. So you and Scotty Scheffler, I mean, you're basically the same now.
Yeah.
But that damn small putt that I missed it's haunted me, and that small putt turned out to be the difference between obviously 2 over par and coming first in that pro-am. So we were 1 point different. We came third. I ended up shooting at 85. As I said, 46 on the front and 39 on the back, and ended up shooting at 85. It was incredible though. I can say that the pro-am experience is unlike any other golfing experience I've had. I've done a couple, and that was top 3, like playing with JC as well, like to see the guys striping off the pro tees, getting ready, like caddies rolling balls where the pins positions are going to be. Like it was really, really cool. Like it was, if we ever get good enough to get the pro-am invites, that's where the real money is. That's got to be one of the coolest experiences I've ever had on a golf course.
And like Chad's been playing with JC Ritchie and stuff like that. Was he quite relaxed? Was he like sort of? I mean, like those sort of guys, it's very much a practice round for him. Is he going around and listening how he's going to play the next day, or is he quite relaxed? Sort of, this is for him just an opportunity to get out there and sort of take his mind off a few things before the next day.
Yeah, so I've heard mixed reviews about JC Ritchie, if I can be dead honest, and I can say he was actually lovely to play with. I think he's a very focused individual. Like, I think him personally in the pro-ams, he's more focused on sorting out his game for the next day, which I assume people might perceive as not being like friendly with, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can be like the guy's out there, he wants to shoot a good round the next day. Like, he doesn't really give a damn about not that he doesn't give a damn, but like he's focused on his game. Like, the guy's trying to get ready for his final tournament, and I'm sure it can be like he just gets into his zone where he's worrying about his game. But he was lovely, man. As I say, he was giving me reads, and those reads were perfect every time. Like, I actually made some incredible putts because of his reads. And I think he saw how competitive we as a 4-ball were, because the scoring was 4-ball alliance, 2 scores to count. Okay. And I think he saw how competitive we were, and he was getting in on it, because obviously the pro scores count as well. So he opened up quite a bit. I think he was a very friendly guy, and stayed for a couple drinks afterwards. We got the pictures when we came third and everything, and he was a very lovely guy to play with, I must say. He's a very technical player. Like, he's very in depth about all his clubs and all his, like, all those little aspects. He's very in tune with swing weights, tips, everything. Like, he was very, very in tune. I was actually very impressed with him.
So then he gave you...
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. You said he gave you so many good reads. What happened on the last putt?
On the last putt?
Or your mini one, that 1 footer was one of those where he just...
Oh, mate, there's no read you can give. You just tap that in the back of the cut. Mate, I tell you now, 99%, and not golfers, 99.5% of people in the world don't miss that putt. So you don't have to be a golfer to make that putt. I tell you now, give your putter to your nan and put her in that distance. She sinks that every time. That was the kind of, and I didn't even touch the hole, and I could just feel. I just felt, and like, this is for a proper thing. Like, this is in front of JC Ritchie. Like, we're playing for prizes, and like, I just felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I was like, I can't. And I did. And you know what else is crazy, guys? I lined up the putt. So it wasn't, I didn't walk in and try to tap it in. I wasn't anything silly. I lined up the putt. I did the process. I did the pre-shot routine. And
that's probably what would actually set you off. If you just walked in and went, thanks, now lean over on one leg, you probably would have slotted it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how I would have ever missed it, but somehow missed that putt. But yeah.
Look, you weren't the only one that was missing big putts. The actual pro-am itself, the major pro-am, was missed by an amateur with a putt that And there was a guy who was actually playing quite well before then.
Yes.
So it was
So
good. It was a good fun to watch.
I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on the Pro-Am. So, for the people that don't know, so Serengeti had a Pro-Am as well. And what they did for it is they sold 4 balls off. And that's why in the final there was a team manager or whatever. And yeah, they auctioned off these 4 balls. And I think they made in the region of, I think, Ross, you were saying 3 million?
3.5 million they managed to raise in auctioning them off.
So, yeah. So the real money was in the Pro-Am. So these amateurs and pros were playing for serious bucks, more than what they would earn if they won the actual Players' Championship or the Tour Championship, which was that day as well, which was that weekend.
The split was 50, 30, 20. So 50 to the winning group, 30 to the second place, and 10 to the 50, 30, 20 or
whatever it is. But now,
so that's what.
It's big bucks.
Because Tristan Stratum only won. Tristan Stratum won 240 for winning the individual event.
Yeah, so the winning
I would love to know your guys' thoughts.
Carry on, Darius. So the winning group.
I'd love to know your guys' thoughts.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ross, get it out. Get the winning group. You've done the maths. Get it out.
The winning group would have got 312,500 per person.
So that's
per person.
Yeah, if it was divided per person. But if just the 2 pros got it, then it's 1.2. It's like 600k each for the pros. So they would have almost won 3 times what Tristan won.
Mental.
It'd be nice to know actually if they do split it all across all 4, or does the
I can't imagine they do. Because in what sport, Stephen? What sport do you know can amateurs ever make money off of?
Yeah.
I mean, they've literally stopped it in college football. Like, I just don't think amateurs can make money in it. So I'm pretty sure it went to the pros. I can only imagine. I don't know for certain.
Yeah.
But I don't know amateur sports where they can make money.
Well, I suppose in theory you can win as an amateur. I suppose as close as you can get. But I don't know. It's an interesting. I mean, as cool as the experience would be, you must also be quite happy when you sit there thinking like Jaden Chapo 3-putted and then 2-putted and it was not playing particularly well on Saturday, for example. You might imagine the amateur pitches up, rolls it in, and Jaden goes, "Oh shit, thanks, I'll take my $500,000, dude. Thanks, appreciate your work. Cheers, guys. Have a good Monday."
And that was pretty much what happened. Because I don't know, did you guys watch the whole of that thing? Because it was actually one of the more entertaining rounds of golf I've seen in a long time. So number one, I love the idea of I want to say match play, and it was a sort of match play. It was 4-ball alliance.
Once it got down to the playoffs,
yeah. So I love to see guys going head to head, but it was madness to see guys going on the 18th there. Eight people tee off. You had the 4 pros at the back tees and the 4 Amis go at it at the club tees, and it was I thought that was pure entertainment. I saw a guy take 3 shots out the bunker, and I was like, I love this. I think this is.
And then just picks it up.
Yeah, just picks it up. I was like,
on TV, on the golf channel, bang 1, bang 2, bang 3, takes the ball, tosses it to the caddy.
Yeah.
Cheers, Oaks.
And I must say, I loved it. And you actually saw, obviously the pros were into it because they're in it for a lot of money. So, I saw Skittercat talking to the guys, getting pumped up every time those Amis were making putts.
He seemed, from what I was saying, he seemed really invested in the whole sort of experience. He was and after the guy missed it, the guy you could see he was really he was not you could see he was quite embarrassed, and he was quite quick to go out to stuff like that. I thought that he looked like he was really enjoying it, really getting into it, and very much it didn't seem to be any sort of I'm here, I don't want to be here type thing. He was getting into it. He was chatting to the guys. He was really encouraging them. When the guy sank a putt, he was going to him and saying that's massive and stuff like that. I was quite impressed with what I saw, with the way he handled himself.
No, I must say, Steve, I loved it. To watch, it's just a format that I've never seen play like that before, especially the 4-ball alliance, and that is such a common club competition. That's something I do, every month. I do a 4-ball alliance in the club competition, and to see the pros and amateurs go at it, it was such a good watch for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is that I wish they had done a bit better job with the actual production in terms of the graph. It was hard to tell who was on who. I guess they never expected a playoff, but it's hard to tell who was with who and whatnot. But it was so cool to watch. For people that didn't watch it, I think that was one of the more entertaining Sunshine Tour events I've seen, and it was just world class.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of pro-ams in the season. We're gonna have to try and land a big sponsor to try and get us a young full ball.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard the
Because
Vodacom
they're-
Origins of golf is a big one to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but they're not cheap to be getting
Yeah.
into. So if anybody wants to come and invest some money in buying us a full ball in a pro, actually what we're doing is we're being stupid. Ross just needs to become the pro, and get us a foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen,
So,
there's a long
yeah,
way
Ross,
to
we'll-
go between. There's a long way to go between me and pro status. I can tell you that much for sure. And if I do become a pro,
You mean
The
the
top-
pro-am is as close we're getting?
yeah, probably.
But look, if Vodacom want to sponsor us this place in that full ball, if while you at it, maybe give Ross some data so that so we can actually see him in our podcast. That might also help. Maybe we can start there.
But if it comes down to us playing the pro-am or Ross getting data, then sorry, Ross, dude, you must
Yeah.
stay in your
Yeah,
And
it's
you
fine.
know
I'll
on that
just, be
Wi-Fi.
If someone
I'll
does,
just- I'll just be a black
go for
screen
it,
in the
Oscar.
podcast as long as we can get into that pro-am.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, and you know what? To be fair, if you did sponsor us a spot in that pro-am, we'd be that guy that takes the 3 shots out the bunker and picks up the ball.
Yeah.
It'd be memorable. That I
Yeah,
can
no,
assure you.
we would be the content. You know that you
Yeah.
know that whole making amateurs feel good about themselves. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's why I mean I love seeing. It sounds bad, but I love seeing a pro like duff a shot or really mess up. Just 'cause it's like such a nice reminder that doesn't matter how good you get, that there is still that shot in you.
And
But Joe Lacquer, well,
no, I was just gonna say on that topic as well. Like that's why I think all these majors where guys don't shoot low is the more interesting golf to watch. When the guys are out there struggling and they're in long grass and like they're not going 10 under par. Like those are the more exciting tournaments. It's the more enjoyable ones. Like stuff like the Masters where the greens are rolling ridiculous. Like I heard, I forget which pro it was. He was complaining. I think it was Tommy or something. I don't want to put words in his mouth that weren't there, but it was one of the pros was saying that the Masters is too hard and everything like that. And I'm like, these guys are pros. Like it's the best when they're struggling. When you see these guys have to do real shot, just like making a real decision, struggle, 3-putt, like that's golf, bro. Like for the relatable person, golf is 3 putts, 3 shots out the back. Like it's tough stuff. It's a hard sport.
Yeah,
and for me, I appreciate them more when you see those like the miracle shots, like when the guys are like out of it in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly they're pulling out that incredible shot from like the hectic rough, and they're putting it towards the green, and then you can sit there going, that's why they're the pros, not just them hitting off the fairways all the time.
Exactly, not them like 120 meters out putting a wedge on close to the pin. Like that's just not what it's about. Well, it
Yeah.
is, but it's not. It's not what's exciting.
I agree. I mean, there was that US Open a couple of years ago. I think it might have been Chambers Bay when Spieth won, and I think the winning score was level or 1 over par. And I mean, that kind of golf is really entertaining, where the best guys in the world, like over 4 days, can't put a score together under par, and they're scrambling,
Yeah.
and that's when you see like the guys are holding putts that are miles long to save par, and it just makes it so much more entertaining because these guys who are normally shooting 12, 13, 14 under, etc., are now having to battle the golf course just to try and shoot level, and that's a really, really good score. I find it much more entertaining than guys shooting 28 under par.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a bit boring when you like when guys are losing the tournament because they can't like hold their 3rd eagle in a row.
See, that
Like,
to me is not
that's the
relatable.
difference.
Yeah, it's not relatable
yeah.
to me. Like tap in birdie's not relatable. I want to see you make it from 15, 20 meters out. I want to see you get
when,
that.
when guys are driving the green and then putting like a 10-footer for eagle and a par 4, and you're like, no,
Yeah, no, it's just,
I will
can't
never be
it.
able to
Yeah.
do that.
So Ross can't say it doesn't happen because it happened yesterday. So
Oh, did we drive a green?
it
Yeah,
was close. It deserved to go on, but it was
Yeah.
like 5 meters short. But the footage will show all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it
I was
won't.
wondering actually because he arrived today in a full vest and looking quite swell. I think he'd just come from the gym. I think he'd just only worked arms, so now it's also starting clicking together. Obviously, trying to find that extra 5 meters.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yesterday upset me that I ended up 5 meters short. So putting in the work to make sure that the next time it's not 5 meters short.
But
There we go. We'll
it was
send
an
you to the
important hole
Bryson
to do
Academy.
that.
But yeah, well, let's talk about it around. So last week Tuesday, Ross decided to book a 7 a.m. tee off. And unfortunately, the weather, yeah, it was cold. I remember I got there at must have been about 25 past 6. No, maybe about 6:30. And Ross just walks in and he just doesn't say anything. And he just walks straight past me basically and goes straight to go and pay his round and then ordered a coffee. We were not happy.
No, it was cold.
But yeah, no, it was cold. It was wet. I mean, you couldn't see half the hole when I first got there. Like we actually would have, if we had teed off when I first got there, we wouldn't have been able to play because you wouldn't have been able to see your ball because there was so much mist. Coming up from the river, especially because we were going off the 10 straight over the river as well. We would have not found anything. But yeah, I played Dainfern in pretty incredible condition. I must say that course looked
it was a treat to
looked pretty
play.
amazing.
It looked good on TV as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it played very nicely. It was a very different experience for me. I mean, taking a 4-iron on like the par 3 at 11 there was like the weirdest thing in my life because, you know, I've never sort of played anything that long. But yeah, I mean, I think we had quite a nice round. Ross played quite the first 9. I wasn't embarrassing myself. The second 9 we're not even going to talk about because it was just a bloody disaster.
I didn't see your 9 scores, Steve. What happened? Because I didn't know you shot 110. I didn't know you shot 110.
No, it was 104, I think.
Okay, well done.
Yeah. 104.
Yeah, geez, well done.
It was.
Yeah. I don't know why. Sorry.
It was
also, it was rude of me to assume 110. I don't know why my brain went to 110. No, it was rude.
You're thinking about Lambo, yes?
But I mean, I sent the. Yeah, there was 110 out yesterday, but yeah, the back 9, or the first 9 that I played, I don't think the score didn't necessarily reflect it, but I didn't play badly. The second 9 after that was just pretty disgusting. But
and what was going on?
We were playing. No, it was. You know what it is? It's dropping.
Oh, dropped like
it's hitting a ball.
penalties.
It's hitting the ball out of bounds,
Yeah,
and
kills.
it's taking it. You just absolutely nowhere for the hole. Unfortunately, I had a trusty. I think it was a Titleist. Was it a Titleist? I had a ball which didn't matter how hard I tried.
Top flight.
Refused to get lost. Yeah, top flight. That's what it was. I had a top flight, and it didn't matter where I hit it. I mean, I hit one so left. I took another one. Hit another one even like further left. Was just driving there to go and take the drop, and the guy's like, "No, there's just a ball over there," and there it was. There was my top flight. Unfortunately, once I did eventually lose it, then it was well lost, and we were nowhere. But I think Ross, you went over in 82, eh?
81.
Or 83.
81.
Off the pro tees,
81.
that's solid, yeah.
Yeah.
81 off the back, and also the pin positions were still the same as Sunday.
Monday.
So
Okay, that's cool.
Monday setup.
And did you find the course
Yeah.
play different to how you usually do, hey, Roscoe? So for people that don't know, Ross is a member at Dainfern and he plays there all the time. And these guys played it off the pro tees the Monday or after the Stella Artois tournament at Dainfern.
yeah, Ross is the associated pro.
So
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how you found the course compared
It
to
did
typical.
play slightly different. It was slightly longer with it being quite wet. So that made it quite interesting because normally a lot of the par 4s off the men's are like relatively short. There's a lot of wedges and 9-irons in there. So it was more towards 8 and 7 heading into the greens on the par 4s, which actually made it more interesting because it's not. And I was in off the tee in positions that we're not normally in, but and pin positions I'd never seen before. That's what I found the most different, because at Dainfern they can't really push the course back too much. I think the most you'll find from men's to the tips is probably 30 meter difference. Par 3s play very
And
different.
the par 5s? So the par 5s at Dainfern are exceptionally short. And I was like, these guys could hit a driver and hit a 7-iron in on some of the par 5s.
Yeah, so the par fives they relatively how they normally play. So they were quite short.
Did they change them? Did they change them to par fours? Do you know?
They changed the eight to a par four because last
Okay.
year the guys ripped it up. I think I don't know what they played the eight in last year, but it was a lot under par. So
Yeah.
the par
Yeah.
fives were still quite short. The par threes were different. Par threes were a bit longer, which was nice. Makes them a lot tougher. But the pin positions were really
Yeah.
cool to see through the pin positions and where those guys have to putt to because it's not easy. They find every slope and crevice and hill and anything that they can to make it quite difficult, and it's very interesting. So it was good fun to play it,
Yeah.
and it was in the best condition I've seen it in a very, very long time.
Yeah. So I mean, I could just to talk about this. So the reason why I asked Roscoe is because we said it before on our last pod. We were like, Danefern is this kind of course where the pros can really rip apart. In this whole conversation of guys going low and exciting golf and whatnot, it was like Danefern's one that they can really rip apart.
Yeah.
And obviously, I didn't get to play Danefern, but I played Peakenwood, and that was another golf course that everyone said these pros are going to rip apart. I played Peakenwood on the Monday after the round, and I can say that is the most different. And I've played Peakenwood a couple times. That's the most different I've ever seen Peakenwood, like in terms of
Right.
how it played. Like you could see that they knew that they had to grow out the rough, and they had
Yeah.
actually, I think they damaged their greens. They try to roll them out so much to make them so hard so that the guys wouldn't, because you can't have the pros breaking every record in a DP
Yeah.
World Tour event at one course just because it plays easy. So I played that
Yeah.
Peakenwood on the Monday, and the rough was grown out to my knees, and I'm never like it's just on the side, and the greens were exceptionally hard to the point where they damaged them. So I was wondering if Daneford had kind of gone like taken some extreme steps to try and make it play a bit harder or not.
Yeah, so last year it was because I mean last year the guys ripped it apart, and this year it
Yeah,
managed to defend itself a lot better than last year. They narrowed quite a few of the fairways. They brought quite a lot of the fairways in,
yeah.
grew the rough out. It was, I mean, Steve can say it was thick in areas.
Yeah, I was about to say. So, Steve, if you want to give us a talk to us about the rough, Ross, you can take the fairway. Steve, you tell us about the rough, mate.
Hey! I don't think that we were. If we looked amount of fair in the back nine, yeah, Ross hitting a lot more fairways. But I hit my fair share. I had we had one hole where we all played it pretty. I felt pretty good about myself. I won't lie. We had one hole where. Now, bear in mind, playing with Ross, Mr. Exponential Golfer, and his brother, who's apparently playing even better at the moment, and then a mate of mine who has won the Limpopo Amateur Open years ago. So there was one hole where I drove with them and we're on with the two and stuff like that. But apart from that, yeah, there was a bit of bundu bashing, must admit.
No, that
But
we know. You don't have to admit that we know. You don't get to 104 without a bit of bundu bashing, and especially if you got the top flights in hand.
To be fair,
look, it was
to Steve, though,
defend me.
I'm having a look here on the greens, and I hit a total of 4 fairways. Steve hit 6.
You see, I said he wasn't hitting fairways. Oh, come on! You see.
And you've just busted my left headphone again, so I'm gonna have to get this working.
Yeah, it's because your lies and slander are damaging your headphones.
But
that's
Steve,
that's
I
super
did still
interesting. As I
manage
said, I
to
would
get
have loved
around
to
in
have-
20. Yeah.
No, 20
Dude,
shots
it
less.
doesn't matter. At the end of the
20
day,
shots
I hit the
entrance.
fairways, dude. So when it comes to playing scramble, just give me a shout, dude. Just let me know
I
when
hear
you
you.
just let me know when you want me to put you on the fairway, and then you can do the rest.
Yeah, we'll have to organize it. But as I say, just on that topic, I mean, like I was very interested to see how Danefern would have played, like how they tried to defend the course, because Serengeti compared to when I played Peakenwood, and I played Peakenwood a lot, and they changed the course a ton. If I'm honest
Yeah.
with you, come that 8th day, and obviously they'd struggled with water the day before. Come that 8th day, I'll never forget when Laratabal won. I was on that green, obviously not when he won, but like right afterwards. And I felt the green, and it felt like a damn cricket pitch, and I couldn't believe
Yeah.
it. And when I played Serengeti, Serengeti obviously didn't have to defend itself as much. It was the best condition I've absolutely ever played that course. And same with
Yeah, it
Peakenwood.
was gorgeous.
Serengeti was absolutely fantastic. And the greens, the one thing I can give them, I've never putted on, that was probably the best putting experience I've ever had on greens. Better than Leopard Creek, better than Blair Athol, better than Bryanston, Killarney,
Yeah.
all of them. It was
Big shot.
exceptionally good greens. Serengeti can, and it was a big shot. They were just rolling so well. And I actually chatted to Michael Palmer last night, and he was saying, the one thing he struggled with was those greens. Like, the guys reckon the stimp on it was close to like 11.5, touching 12, like quite fast. But they said that the grain really affected the greens, and the greens rolled so true that like if you're on a down slope, it goes. Like like the slope really affected it. So I think, and you saw a mixed bag of results at Serengeti. I mean, JC Ritchie's someone who stays at Serengeti, and I hope it wasn't due to me. I mean, obviously, once you get the high of playing with me, everything.
No,
is
100%
never
it
gonna
is,
be the
dude. You
same.
have ruined his career.
But-
I heard he's thinking of retiring and everything.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like the guy lives on the estates, and like he usually does well. I think he won Ibotsi a while back, and he like something went wrong for him at Serengeti, and it just shows how the courses play different. Like obviously the greens and everything, I think were a big part of it, but it was very different to. I'm just saying it's very different to play Serengeti. Like obviously they changed the course and everything like that, but it wasn't like you could see they didn't have to defend themselves as much as Peakingwood did, and
as
what I
drastic.
think Danford would have had to do as well.
But it's also
but it's very
Barrows,
interesting to see how these guys.
interesting.
But one thing.
It's interesting to hear what you say to
Yeah,
Barrows
go.
about Serengeti and the stump and getting close to 12. Danefern on Sunday of the Players' Championship, they got up to 12.5, just above 12.5 on the stump.
You see,
So
so that's
they
what I'm saying. Like, they
were-
obviously have to try and defend it. Like, they blitz.
Yeah.
As I say, so I didn't have an official stump reading. I asked JC and I asked a couple of the guys that I was playing with their opinion, and the guys were saying probably 12, 11.5, but they were saying the grain
Yeah.
affected it a lot and the slopes affected it a lot. That would have really made a difference in terms of your stump readings and how at least the greens felt. But they certainly felt the best greens I've ever putted on in my life was that Serengeti, and it was.
And
fast.
you're quite a good person when you say that, because you've putted on basically every green in the country. So
Yeah.
that comes from a well-versed putter.
Yeah.
And from the sounds of it, had a lot of putts on these greens as well.
Yeah.
So
So that's absolutely. Thank goodness I had JC for his read. He really helped me out there.
well, JC didn't quite come to the party, but Tristan Stratum did get on his maiden victory there out there on the Sunshine Tour. So big up to him, and with it sort of brought a close to the 2021-2022 season. They've got a tournament happening at the good old home course for some qualifying for next season. But that is the season that was. Although the next season kicks off quite soon. Not exactly a massive break. A couple of interesting events. In fact, I think so the first event for the next season apparently is on the 13th of May as the Lombard Insurance Classics. So not much of a break there, but let's just look at the season a little bit. So in terms of the order of merit, Sean Norris finished top. Obviously, that win at Stain City was going to be a big decider there. And what's quite impressive about him is him and Dean Burmester are the only ones to have broken the 4 million rand threshold, and they only played 7 tournaments each. The next best was Tristan Lawrence, who came third in the order of merit with 3.8 million, but he played 18 tournaments.
But I'd love to know,
Sorry.
Steve, if you check the breakdown of that, he actually won the SA Open or the which one was that, Rand Park? Was it the SA or Joburg Open? I think it was SA.
He won the Joburg
Was
Open.
it the Joburg? Yes.
Yeah.
Joburg Open. He won the Joburg Open, and I think that is like 1.5 to 2 million. Like that would have made the majority of his prize money as well. That one tournament.
Yeah, we can go. I'll bring it up here. But other people as well. Oliver Becker, who we're going to chat about in a bit now. Henry Duplessis in 5th, JC Ritchie then 6th, Anna Lombard 7th, Daniel van Tonden 8th, Tristan Stratum in 9th, and then George Coetzee rounding up the top 10. Vulcanino about just after him. But Rookie of the Year went to Jaden Shaper, who actually ended up on 35th in the order of merit. And I mean, I think I've been a little bit disappointed with Jaden, because I thought we were gonna see a victory from him this season.
Ooh, Jaden Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all the hype and sort of burst onto the scene and stuff like that, but just is still searching for that
And even Brew, to be honest,
first win.
in the Pro-Am, I mean, he was 3-putting, like from an incredibly short distance, and like you just don't expect that of a player of his caliber. Like this whole season, I think like he's almost getting like that Rory McIlroy effect where you this super hype guy,
Yeah.
and obviously Rory's got a lot more accomplishments, but it's like a similar sort of feeling. Like the whole time you're waiting, like, is this guy like, when's this guy gonna win? When's he gonna win? Like he deserves a win, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, his putting at the Pro-Am, like just that last section was tough to watch. It was relatable, which is not good on his behalf, but it was.
But I mean,
tough.
if you look at 2020, 2021, where he sort of burst onto it, I mean, he finished, he started with a 15 at the Betway Championship. Then sort of really announced himself. I mean, he had a couple of sort of small wins around here and stuff like that. But then it was the Joburg Open, where he suddenly said, listen, I'm here. Where he finished 18, pocketed 220. But then the Alfred Dunhill, when he finished second. And,
Yeah.
there was a guy, I think he was 18 at the time. Well, I think he was just turned 19 or in and around that. So he's still a teenager to finish second at Alfred Dunhill. And then made the cut to the SA Open. We sort of went, right, well, here we go. Here's the next best thing. He actually finished fourth on the Order of Merit. So to go from fourth to 35th
Yeah.
is...
And it's like it's almost like he's been
Yeah.
peaking, like it's like we spoke about it again in the other podcasts. Like when players peak, they can really perform and everything like that. And it feels like Jaden should be in his peak right now. Like he should be peaking.
Yeah.
And it's not coming to fruition. Like it's like you want to see it happen, but it's just not. As I say, I feel like it's watching Rory just in the Sunshine Tour.
And you wonder how, because for example, he won Rookie of the Year. Now, it's weird to think of him as a rookie when you think that it was the Joburg Open in 2020 where he announced himself and stuff like that. But obviously then COVID hit. So I wonder how much he's been affected by that COVID break, because when you think about it, it was literally just before. It was Joburg Open in November, Alfred Dunhill in December, SA Open in December as well. Like all of a sudden he's on the map and ready to take the next step, and then bang, there's no golf for over a year.
No golf for a year.
Because we need him. We need him to step up. Him and like Gary Hicker, obviously Hicker over in the PGA Tour, but down here on the Sunshine Tour, Jaden is supposed to be the next our next star to take the next step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's just like we've been waiting for it. Like as I say, like and like I just feel like this kid's got so much talent. Like what he did at such a young age and everything like that. Like how is he? It's not. It feels like he hasn't been performing well at all. Like I mean, I know he won rookie. I see he won rookie of the season, but I couldn't tell you who else he was really against in terms of rookies. But
well, this weekend was his highest. I think this weekend was his highest finish. I'm seeing a fourth year.
His highest finish, but that was also because only 50 people got invited as well. So like we're not looking at a full field.
And only 37 played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we look at like the big tournaments over the past season, Stain City missed the cut, Pecan Wood T47, the Johnson Workwear 31st, Baines with the Cape Town Open he missed the cut, SA Open 30th, Joburg Open missed the cut, PGA Championship it's a fifth year. So he hasn't really sort of kicked on. But I think that maybe what will also be nice for him is that, given the fact that there was so much hype for him coming into this season, and then maybe not performing, taking a month maybe off and then sort of saying, right, let me reset myself. Yeah. Now he doesn't hopefully have as much of a monkey in the back. There's nobody sitting there going, listen, we're waiting for you to win. Why aren't you winning? Now people might just be able to say, play your golf. You'll win when you win.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic point.
I mean, the kid's born in 2001, so he's got plenty of years ahead of him.
Well, that's the other thing as well. He's got so much time to perform on the tour. Like, a lot of pressure early, and we saw it with good old James Hart Dupree as well, when he had all the pressure on the PGA Tour and didn't make the cut. So we know maybe it affects our SA golfers a little bit different, but he's got plenty of time, and as you say, maybe when there's not so many eyes on him, he'll actually be able to just dial in. He looks like a very technical player as well. When I see him putt and do his routines, like it almost feels like he's been playing golf at such a young age and just getting so many lessons and dialing in this, that he looks very, very technical. In the moment you perform and you have a lot of eyes on you and you're trying to think of all these different technical things, like sometimes you just got to play the damn game, even like it's even when I saw him with his putting, it all looked very, very technical, and he was missing, and I'm sure it can get in your head very easily when you're that technical of a player. But as you said,
and then
Steve,
before we wrap up, because I believe that Ross got dinner plans. Apparently has a life outside of this, which is very rude. Oliver Becker came T2 at
The
over in Spain
Catalonia
at the Catalonia
Open.
Championship. Yeah,
Course,
frustrating
beautiful.
because he had played so well throughout the entire weekend, and as we were saying just before we started, he just had to go one under through the last round, and he would have actually won, and then lost the playoff.
And it was an incredible playoff. As I think they went 6 or 7
Yeah.
times, and they just
Six
and it
holes,
was like
six holes.
6 holes, and it like I haven't seen a playoff go that many holes in a long time. And like to see two players not give an inch. I think it was pars every time or something like that. Like boom, boom, like putting it close. This guy sinks it. I was like, this is again so entertaining. I love playoffs in golf. Probably one of the best aspects is to see two men go at it, one for one. You know.
And that 18th hole that they played, because they played the 18th 5 times, and then they played the 17th once. And that 18th hole is one of the toughest 18th holes I've seen on tour in a while. That flag was in such an ugly position on that green that you actually could not hit your approach shot close. You had to pull off a miracle shot to get it close to that flag. So that made it really interesting. And the commentators were saying that the chance of the playoff being won by making par and the other guy making a bogey was so high. And normally it's not like that at all. So it made for some seriously interesting watching, and I enjoyed it. Bummed that he didn't get the win, but it was really good to see.
It was a good watch, yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully that's sort of that's something. I mean, he's gone up in the world golf rankings, so he's now sitting up in the top 100, which is good to see. Because we want to see some more golfers up there and stuff like that. But maybe, if nothing else, that sometimes these can be platforms. And we talk about good form and stuff like that. It's a nice confidence boost. And speaking of confidence boosters, so we are rushing a little bit towards the end here. Mexico Open and Jon Rahm coming together. Now, a whole different sort of vibe to other wins where he arrives at the Mexico Open as the overwhelming favorite. Tony Finau was there, Patrick Reed was there, a couple of big players, but not a starstruck PGA Tour field. But he rode the pressure from beginning to end. I mean, he looked like he was going to win that from his first tee shot. And even then, down to the last hole where he actually went very left, just never ever panicked and looked so comfortable. Yeah. Is this now Jon Rahm stepping on the accelerator and getting a season going, do you think?
You see, for me, Jon Rahm, like that's what's so good about Jon Rahm is that like he's that kind of guy that once he looks like he's on that accelerator, he's fucking on it. Like he puts that foot down, and like I'll never forget at the Ryder Cup when him and Sergio are together, they put the foot down, and like that was like a true showing of like what it really takes to be the world number one. Like that, like we talk about it so often. Like Scotty Scheffler didn't really look like, although he did fantastic in the Masters, like, and it was a clear victory. It didn't look for me personally like this confident guy just when they're like 4 putting on the last. Like Jon Rahm is the kind of player that puts his foot on and he just goes. Like it's exceptional to watch. Like he is, and like he's the kind of guy, like you talk about peaks like we have this whole time. He's the kind of guy that I feel like once he hits a peak, he stays on that peak. There's no falling off. There's no, like he hits it for quite a while, in terms of golf, like relative to golf. Like you can't win week in and week out every time, but you certainly can, be doing good performances. And that's the kind of thing I think we're going to see from Rahm, especially now that he started off with this win. It was, I think he's going to be quite a machine to come up against.
Yeah, I mean, and as you said, the Barros, when he gets in form, he does it for months at a time. He doesn't do it for a month where he has a run of 3 good tournaments. He's on form for 4 or 5 months of the year, and he may not win week in, week out, but for 4 or 5 months of the year, he collects 2 or 3 wins and a bunch of top 10s. So I enjoy watching him. He's very fiery. He's got quite a bit of a temper, but I enjoy watching him. I find him quite interesting, and he's got a bit of fire. But this weekend, he didn't look as solid as he did the first 2 days. I mean, I think he shot 3 under on Saturday and then 2 under on Sunday. So he didn't look as solid, I didn't think, in the last 2 rounds, but in general, he looked really, really good. And I'm hoping that this is him announcing himself for this year.
As I say, after this sort of a win, I could see Jon Rahm making a move back to world number 1 quite soon.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing he needed just to get the confidence back, get the, as you say, get the foot on the accelerator, and I'd like to see how he starts doing in terms of the world rankings.
Yeah.
Well, this is now the time to start moving because I mean we've got PGA Championship coming up in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then US Open in June, and then
Mm.
obviously the Open in July. So you know we're now talking we're major season now. You
Yeah.
know, so now's the time to really start taking that step up. And I think that he's one of those players where as soon as he has a round like this weekend, he'll suddenly be a massive favorite for
Yeah.
for like the PGA, and he'll be a massive favorite for the US Open all of a sudden because it just
Yeah.
looks like he's sort of back into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But Wells Fargo this weekend. Yeah, Oscar. So it's difficult to see if you want to speak or not because your
Yeah.
camera's dead.
I said touching on major season, and that's I saw Tiger was at Southern Hills this week at the venue of the
Oh,
PGA
yes.
Championship.
Yeah.
He's winning it.
So it'd be interesting also to see.
If Ross puts money on him to win it, I'm going to put money on him not to win it. I think that's going to be my new betting strategy.
Yeah, old Roscoe's Louis Oosthuizen in bed also really cashed out for everyone, eh?
Yeah, I bombed up.
Yeah, fair.
My Cam Smith one's still going strong.
Okay.
Yeah, true. So we'll see how he does at PG in a couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that'll be done by July, so that'll be a nice. So I'm also monitoring that one because if that comes off, then we're all going to celebrate on Ross's account.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I think we can call that there. There is so much golf coming up, especially moving more now into the European season and into the PGA Tour, obviously getting very much going. So there's gonna be a lot more sort of overseas stuff. But yeah, close to home, the Sunshine Tour does get back underway in a couple of weeks. There's the Zim Open coming up, which I think is gonna be quite interesting to check that out. But yeah, as I said, more sort of the big tournaments, which is gonna be really cool. We will hopefully have a video out on our Danefern round, and then by the end of the week, and we'll hopefully have Ibotsi stuff coming out very soon as well. As always, please make sure that you follow us on whatever platform you're listening to, on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Hopefully, we will be in person next time. We hopefully might even have some exciting news to share. If the right conversations go well over the next couple of days. So yeah, hopefully next time you guys see us, we'll be back in person, and yes, I'll be out of isolation and hopefully back onto a golf course soon. Chaps, enjoy the rest of your week. Always a pleasure.
Indeed.
Pleasure never at all.
And we'll see you guys all very soon.
Thanks.